So when I was offered this opportunity, I couldn't really believe it. I've been working in Bermuda for about 5 years now, and it's just to be able to get away from Bermuda for a little bit, just go and sail, see different places, meet a lot of different people, uh, meet a meet a lot of different teams throughout the sailing world, and it's just been great. Our crew, it's five of us full time, and we're like a family now. You know, we're all really close. We all drive together. We eat, we sleep, we do everything together every day. You know, so you live together. And then when we're in charter, we all work well. We all have our different jobs when we take on guests, and then when I go with the racing aspect, I sail with different people. So it's really put me out there, and it's really made me. I've met a lot of important people that I glad I've met. You know, like the American Sailing Association. I met one of the guys that's big in the American Sailing Association on one of our charters, and my boss introduces me as the rigger on Arabella, and I do all the sail trim when we're in charter and stuff like that. So I'm basically in charge of the sailing aspect on the boat, and then that's how I met with the guy from American Sailing Association, and he interviewed me, and then he asked me if it's okay if he puts the interview on the website. So I've never really done match racing before the Gold Cup. I did the Bermuda Nationals, and then I qualified for the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup was my first big match race regatta. You race against the top guys from around the world. I didn't do too well, but it was just getting my feet wet, as you said, into the match racing program. And then after the Gold Cup, that just led to more events that I got invited to. So I went that summer after Gold Cup, and I did a few more match race regattas. And then throughout the winter, it died off a bit, and I was just sailing, doing regattas in Bermuda here and there. And then the Bacardi keelboat regatta came up, which I got invited to. And I sailed with Adam Barboza. He is part of my crew. His wife, Debbie, Michael Richard, and my friend from high school, Alex Ellis. And we actually won the Bacardi event. And then that's how I met my boss, Michael Fortenball, now, because his team raced in the Bacardi event and his team got fourth. So he was talking to me a lot at the end of the regatta, trying to get me to come back with him. And yeah, just gave me an event and let me see the yachting side of sailing as well, not just the racing side. You know, it's two different sides to it. So basically, when we're on the yachting side, we're just doing sails around the BVI. We take on guests. We had a Manhattan Yacht Club race week 2 weeks ago down here in the BVI, and it was where anyone could do it. You know, you just rent a catamaran or any type of boat you want, and you can enter in a boat, and then each day there's a different race. And believe it or not, we entered Arabella in the last race, which is on the last day. And Arabella's a 160-foot sailing yacht, three-masted schooner, racing against a bunch of little catamarans. And we actually won that race, so it was pretty nice. It was a neat experience. So as of right now, they just put in my work permit to go work in the U.S. so that I can run the sailing program at the Manhattan Yacht Club, and then also I can compete in all the races for Manhattan Yacht Club this summer. Like there's the 12-meter regattas, then I have my match race regattas. I actually have my first match race regatta in Chicago on May 30th and 31st. And then next week, I fly down to St. Martin to do the Heineken race week in St. Martin, which is a big regatta I've always wanted to do. So that's another event ticked off my bucket list. So as of right now, we're just waiting on my work permit to get approved. And then once that's approved, we can go back to New York in May and then start sailing in and around the U.S. and Canada all summer. And then we will leave the US in November and come back to the Caribbean for the winter season. Different events you can have, like you might see some foreign skippers coming down, like the Bacardi event. We saw maybe 4 or 5 foreign teams come down, which was great. When the Gold Cup comes back around, if I qualify again, because we have the qualifiers coming up again in Bermuda. So I'll be home for that. We have a few guys running up against me this year. So I've got to qualify for that. Hopefully I qualify and make it to the Gold Cup again. And then after Gold Cup, it will lead to the summer season in the US and Canada. So